As teachers of online courses, we all want our students to have transformational experiences. That's what makes us tick as teachers, and it also really helps with online course sales. I've worked with many of the world's top course creators, and I've come up with 3 things that you should be including in your course to get that transformational online course experience. Hey everyone, I'm Andrew Barry. Welcome back to my channel. I help people teach on the internet, and today we're going to be talking about the 3 P's of T.O.Cs. So quickly, what are T.O.Cs? I've coined this term transformational online courses. If you check out the link in the comments below, there's a blog post I've written about this which highlights 8 key features of transformational online courses. I'll probably make a video about that at some other point, but today I want to talk to you about the 3 P's that if you really focus on these 3 things, you can create a transformational online course. So what are the 3 P's? Number 1 is personal meaning. Number 2 is peer-to-peer learning. And number 3, prompts to action. Let's dive into each of these. I'll give you some examples and some ideas for how you can implement these in your course. Before we do that though, please like and subscribe, as this is now a weekly series of videos that I put out on how to teach on the internet. So make sure that you get the latest videos as and when they come out. All right, let's dive in. Okay, so number 1, personal meaning. So this comes from the learning theory called constructionism, which was originated by a gentleman by the name of Jean Piaget. What constructionism says is that learners who are involved in creating something that has personal meaning to themselves or to those that are around them have a much greater chance of actually learning that thing. All right, so what's a good example of this? My favorite example, most recent memories, a course I took and helped advise, was Robbie Crabtree's performative speaking. So it's a course on speaking, and you're creating 4 videos that showcase your speaking ability. The very first assignment is a video you need to create on core values. For some reason, I found this one incredibly difficult. It was the first one. It was also having to talk about myself. It was having to really connect with things that are deeply meaningful and personal to me, and then do a presentation on them and share that with a bunch of people. But that's one of the keys to learning, getting your students outside of the comfort zone into a learning zone where there's a little bit of tension and a little bit of difficulty, and they kind of have to push themselves. This is also something that Anders Ericsson talks a lot about in his book Peak, which I've talked about in a couple of my previous videos. So the core values assignment that Robbie has in performative speaking forces you to really think about your core values, your motivations and your reasons for doing anything. But because it's part of the course, you're also kind of thinking about why you're doing the course. And that's the key to this first P. If you can give your students many opportunities to reflect on why they are doing what they're doing, do it early in your course and do it often, you have a much greater chance of them experiencing a transformation that is meaningful to them. The second P, peer-to-peer learning. We all learn better from each other. In fact, there's actually studies that show that we learn even more from seeing others fail than from seeing them succeed. So go check that out. We'll include a link to that below too. And so with that in mind, if you are surrounding yourself by people who are in the same stage of the journey as you, in fact, not just the same stage, but people who are a little bit ahead of you in the journey, and even people who are a little bit behind you in the journey, you are going to compound your learning as someone taking an online course. So your job as the teacher is to design that learning journey for people and to create intentional moments for them to interact with people who are a few steps ahead of them and a few steps behind them. One of the best examples of this I've seen is Rite of Passage. So I was an alumni mentor for Rite of Passage 5, worked very closely with David Perel, Will Mannon, and 6 other amazing alumni mentors. And what we were able to do was create a community of people by connecting people who are at the same stage of the journey. Where David is the destination everyone's trying to get to, we were hosting these journey groups that got people together to talk about just taking the next step, getting over things like imposter syndrome, and just staring at a blank page and trying to write. A practical way this was achieved was to get people to obviously write assignments in the course, but then share those in the community, and then for everyone else to give feedback. Now, David has an amazing eye for giving feedback for people on their essays, obviously clearly applies that on his own. But what he was able to do to translate expertise into teaching was create a framework, which he called the crib system, for giving feedback. And in a very simple way, explained what he's looking for when giving feedback. In a way, he codified his ability to give feedback and enabled 350 students to be able to give feedback to each other. And suddenly what you found is this hugely rich community of people posting their essays, giving feedback to 3, 4, 5 other people. We were doing that as mentors, and you just get this rapid, very, very tight feedback loop to improve your writing. And so the results were exponential. So think about ways to codify your ability to help people one-on-one so that your community can do that, and then create these intentional environments of community for people to interact with each other, learn from each other, from both their mistakes and their successes, and from those in front of them and those just behind them. And finally, prompts to action. We learn best by doing. In fact, I believe learning is doing and doing is learning. They're one and the same thing, and thinking of them as two separate things is actually something ingrained in us through school systems that broadcast information to us that we just are supposed to absorb and understand and then write a test on. But that's not really how life works, right? When you want to learn a new skill, you go out and start practicing it. Figure out what you got wrong, go back, figure out, learn about how to improve that, and then go try it again. So it's constant feedback loop, something you've heard me talk about a lot on this channel. So the third P, prompts to action, is about designing very thoughtful assignments, homework, exercises, even just prompts for people to talk in breakout rooms through discussions to really get them practicing and thinking about the skills and knowledge that you're sharing with them. One of the best examples I've seen of this was Ali Abdal, who in his part-time YouTuber Academy has 4 video assignments. Each of them is designed to get you to experiment with some different component of creating YouTube videos. And Ali has gone on record as saying, you don't have to attend the lectures. You at least don't have to attend them live. Everything is recorded. You can watch all of that whenever you want, and you will have access to it forever. But what you really should be doing during those live cohorts are those 4 assignments. That is by far the best way to get value out of the course and to improve your ability to create consistently good YouTube videos. You have to learn by doing. So what you should be thinking about as a course creator is how can you design activities and assignments and homework for people to implement what you've done in a way that sort of stacks and builds on the ones before it. And what you should be thinking about as well is a capstone event. That's something that they can build up towards and release at the very end. One of the ways we're going to be doing this in the Course Creator Fellowship that I'm creating with On Deck is that we're going to help course creators work on their courses, and there'll be lots of assignments and practical applications to go and work on their overall course. But as all of you know who are listening to this, who have an online course, there are so many components to it. So we're going to help people prioritize what to be focusing on so that they can use that time wisely to make the highest leverage improvements to their course. But the other super exciting thing is that we're going to have a capstone event. This capstone event is going to be a modularized version of their course. Think of it as a mini workshop, 45 to 60 minutes, which all fellows are going to have an opportunity to present in a virtual global learning conference, a showcase event of 3 days where people can sign up from anywhere in the world and they can get access to all of these amazing rooms to learn a little bit about what each of the fellows in our program have to create. So zooming out for a second, as the person creating that course, what we're doing here is giving every single fellow an opportunity to work on something and to present it at the end as evidence of what they learned in that course. And that's the power of unlocking transformations for people. If you can create deliberate prompts to action to get them to go from A to Z in their transformations, you will have a very successful online course. So that's that. 3 important P's to always keep in mind: personal meaning, peer-to-peer learning, and prompts to action. Let me know in the comments which of these resonate with you. If you have any questions about any of them, let me know. I will get back to every single comment on this video, and I will see you next week with more on how to teach on the internet.